Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about the portfolio construction and management extended seminar that was to begin mid-August. I've moved it up. We're going to start July 17th. I had originally chose mid-August because I wanted to time it with the opening of the Level 2 CFA registration for 2024. Because if somebody had picked up the CFA Plus option, they get the applied series within it, and if you were waiting for 2024, you would have had to wait, well, for the CFA stuff, you got to wait till August. But you can always add the applied series module and then just get the regular CFA subscription, which would be the same thing as adding CFA Plus. So, I thought about it, I thought, well, then why wait? Why not just do it early? So my schedule clears up after the first weekend in July, and then I have all the attention in the world for the applied series. So we're going to start on July 17th. Also, the portfolio construction and management seminar, it's an extended one. It's going to be somewhere around 4 to 6 months. I really don't know how long it's going to last, but it'll be weekly editions for quite an extended period of time. It's included in the applied series, so if you have the applied series, you have it. But I thought I'd offer it just as a standalone module as well, because somebody may say, well, I don't really want the applied series. 320 is a little much for me, so 125, you can have it as a standalone module. This module is not available yet. It should be available sometime within the next week. It might be a couple of days. It might be up to a week. It's as fast as IT can work. But this will be available as a standalone module. I have the first 4 weeks up in terms of what we'll be covering. And I've already begun to lay out my screens and the process for these. Week 1, we're going to set up our trading system. So that means our screens. What is it that we want to pay attention to? We're going to have a screen for Forex. There are certain key currencies to watch. One for fixed income, and on that screen we will have our watch list up for interest rates and for bonds. They are two separate things. Another screen for commodities, and here we'll list the ags, which includes hogs and cattle, energy, and metals. Another screen for equities from a very top-down perspective, futures, ETFs, sector ETFs, and specialty ETFs. Then we can add screens after that, depending on the types of equities we're looking for. We might have one screen where it is just high beta equities. We might have one screen where it is high volatility equities, and these are great if you're doing any kind of options work. We have another screen, maybe it is just high dividends. We might have another screen where it's REITs. And so we want to try to classify our stocks into specific types of screens so that at a glance we can see just what we want to see. Week 2, we go into our strategic asset allocation. And here we're not going to be doing an MVO, a mean variance optimization. We're just going to think about it. Since we're using a paper portfolio with $1 million US, this is through Interactive Brokers, 60% will dedicate towards a managed portfolio. In other words, it'll be a serious portfolio. 40% will be experimental positions. So our real benchmark portfolio, the one where we will judge how well we perform, will be the 60%. This 40% is just to learn how to do certain things. Carry trades, curve trades, spread trades, theta plays, momentum. And it is hoped that you will gain experience in how to do these kind of trades. And if you learn how to do them well, they may become part of your managed portfolio. But until you know how to do a spread trade, until you can understand the risk management that's involved in a spread trade, how you make money, how you lose money, you should not, in your managed portfolio, be trying out new things. So we will try it in our experimental positions, and if it's something that works out for you and you like it, you can eventually migrate it over to your managed portfolio, still a paper portfolio. If you don't have Interactive Brokers, It is quite typical that most brokers will have a paper portfolio account option for you. You can follow along in that. For our managed portfolio, for the strategic allocation, we're going to have some money dedicated to equities, some to fixed income, and then another category of others. It's up to you to decide what it would look like. So let's say let's go 50, 25, and 25. It is just a paper portfolio, so you may as well have a good allocation. In your own personal account, you may say, oh, I don't care about fixed income. You may be 100% equities in your own personal account. That's fine. But here, let's try to get a good balance. And these are more subjective for you. But let's say it's 50, 25, and 25. Within equities, then you go to the next level and you say, well, between large cap and small cap, what do I want it to be? You might say, well, let's go 30% large cap, 20% small cap. So 60% of $1 million is 600,000. 50% is 300,000 towards equities. 20% in small cap would be 60,000 in the small cap. 20% of the 600. Sorry, it's 20 of the 50. 20 of the 600. That 120 would be in small cap. 180 would be in large cap. I was applying my math to the wrong level here. We'll do the same thing for fixed income. Do we want any exposure to rates? We might say, well, out of the 25%, let's get 5% exposure to short-term rates and 20% of that 25% towards duration. Again, just, this is something you have to think about. And it's not something you just make up off the top of your head. You want to think about it clearly. And then for others, commodities and Forex. And I will say this, if you are not exposed to commodities over the next 5 to 7 years, I think you're going to miss one of the best performing asset classes over the next cycle is commodities. So you're going to want to think carefully about the exposure to commodities. And we can get this in a number of ways. We can get it through futures or through ETFs that happen to have exposure to futures contracts or to the specific underlying. For Forex, again, either through futures or through spot. Spot is the easiest way to do it, but it's not always the most effective. When you do it with spot, you end up with a positive and negative currency balance. So I think it's important that we do something in Forex, probably in experimental positions, before you go trading spot, just so you see how you can deal with that negative currency position that you get, because it is going to cost you money because it has negative carry. So we'll do with futures and spots, and if we are doing something in equities or fixed income that give us exposure to a currency we do not want, we will use futures to hedge that out. Week 3, we get into rules. When are we going to rebalance? What are our rebalancing targets? This is important for risk management. So if we decide that we're going to do something on a theta play and we take on a certain type of negative delta, or a certain type of positive delta, and it moves against us, at what level, at what point do we step in and rebalance? You have to have rules. You can't just, hope that things are going to work out for you. So rebalancing positions, maximum percentage in any one position. You have to think about these up front. What is our maximum loss before we say, okay, that's it. As soon as I lost a certain amount, I'm out of the game. Minimum and maximum exposures in terms of theta, especially if you are doing income plays, theta plays. What is the maximum theta you want as a percentage of your portfolio, the maximum delta or the maximum delta beta? If we have maximum percentage positions, we don't need to do a dollar delta beta because the dollar will already be taken care of in the maximum position. Week 4, we begin to deploy. We'll begin to deploy on the managed side, and we will begin to deploy on our experimental positions as well. And when we deploy, you're going to find that if we decide, well, okay, for our large cap equities, since we want 180,000 in there, let me just get exposure to SPY. we're going to find that there are many ways to get the exact same exposure. You can buy the ETF. You can buy a futures contract, and then you can invest the rest of the cash to offset the carry. You can use a synthetic to get that position. So there are many ways to get the same position. Not only that, you may decide I want 180,000 to SPY. However, Apple makes up 8% of the index. I'd like Apple to only make up 2% of the index. I will show you how to remove a component from the index. So we have a lot of exciting things going on from week 1 to week 4. We don't start trading until week 4. Week 1 to week 3 is really a lot of thinking and a lot of setup. And then we'll begin to deploy. And as we deploy, we then start to begin to make the decision of, well, how do I want to get exposure? And it will matter for the efficiency of the capital that you use. Sometimes there are more efficient ways to get exposure than others, especially across border. And also, especially for tax efficiency, sometimes some types of exposure are better on an after-tax basis than others. So we will learn all of that. So to wrap up, we are going to begin July 17th. When I say begin July 17th, that means the first video will show up on the 17th, and then every single week after that. So we've got the first 4 weeks up. After we get started with the first 4, I'll try to have a 4-week rolling schedule up so that that you can see what the next 4 weeks are at all times. And that's it. You can add the applied series at any time. Let me show you how you can do that. Let's switch screens here. There we are. If you click on, if you go to markmeldrum.com, if you don't see it over here, these 3 little dots, there's applied courses. If you click on that, right now you can add the options course, or you can add the bundle. The options course is within the bundle. There'll be another one over here where you could just add the portfolio construction module for $125. If you have just the applied options course, the portfolio construction module is not part of that. You would have to upgrade to the applied series bundle. Here's the nice thing. If you paid $220 and you want to get the whole thing, you only have to pay the difference. There is no penalty. We don't have penalty pricing here. So the portfolio construction module will be $125. And if you're using that and saying, well, you know what, I think I want the whole thing now, you just pay the difference between $125 and the applied series. It's not as if it's a one-time decision and, oh, well, now if I want the applied series, I'm going to have to pay $320 and I just finished paying $125. It doesn't work that way. I find that kind of punishment pricing to be nothing more than a money grab. So you'll never find punishment pricing on anything that I do. When this will be up? Well, I'm at the mercy of IT, and IT is busy. So it could take anywhere from 4 hours to 7 days. So just check back from time to time, make sure it's there, and I'll be on it. Sorry about the knocking you heard in the last few seconds, but somebody knocked at the door just as I was pretty much done, and I didn't feel like redoing the whole video for the knock on the door.